Listen closely. This is how understanding begins.
It's 3 in the afternoon. You're sitting at your desk, staring at a task you know you need to do. A blank document, an unmade phone call, a difficult conversation you've been avoiding. You have the time, you have the ability, but you feel stuck. It feels like an invisible weight is holding you in place, a quiet but heavy anchor chained to your ambition. We've all felt it. It's the feeling of scrolling through social media, seeing the curated perfection of someone else's life, the perfect family, the exotic vacation, the successful career, and feeling a familiar, hollow ache inside. We roll our eyes. Maybe we feel a flash of envy or a pang of self-pity, and we tell ourselves it's harmless, just a fleeting thought, but it's not. These moments, these seemingly small and insignificant mental habits, are the links in the chain of that invisible anchor. They are the quiet thieves that operate in the background of our lives, stealing our energy, our focus, and our mental strength. We often believe that to build a better life, we need to add something: more discipline, more good habits, more motivation. But the secret to genuine mental strength, the secret to finally lifting that anchor, isn't about what you need to start doing. It's about what you need to stop doing. Today, we are going on an expedition into our own minds. We will identify the 3 most powerful, destructive beliefs that keep us trapped, and we will forge the tools to break their chains, one by one. This is not just about feeling better. It's about becoming the architect of your own mind. This is the art of your ascent. To escape a prison, you must first understand its design. Our mental prisons are not built of stone and steel. They are constructed from subtle, deeply ingrained beliefs. These beliefs act as the operating system for our reality, running in the background and dictating our every reaction. Let's shine a light on the 3 master architects of our own unhappiness. The first architect, the myth of the victim. This is the unhealthy belief we hold about ourselves. It's the seductive whisper of self-pity. Now, it's crucial to distinguish self-pity from genuine sadness. Sadness is a healthy, necessary response to pain and loss. When something bad happens, feeling sad is part of the healing process. Self-pity, however, goes a step further. It takes our misfortune and magnifies it, wrapping it in a narrative of personal injustice. It's the voice that says, "Why do these things always have to happen to me? I shouldn't have to deal with this. My life is so much harder than everyone else's." This way of thinking is a trap because it feels good in the short term. Hosting your own pity party provides a strange sort of comfort. It absolves you of responsibility. If you are the victim of cosmic misfortune, then you don't have to do the hard work of finding a solution. But in doing so, you chain yourself to the problem. You become a passive observer in your own life story. When you are fixated on the unfairness of your situation, your brain is physically incapable of searching for a way to improve it. Even when a solution is impossible, you always have the power to take steps to make your life, or someone else's life, better. But you cannot see those steps when you are blinded by the fog of your own pity party. The modern world pours gasoline on this fire. We scroll through an endless highlight reel of other people's successes, and our brains, which are not wired to process this volume of curated perfection, start to believe the myth that everyone else has it easy. We see the beautiful family photo, but we don't see the argument that happened in the car on the way there. We see the promotion, but we don't see the years of quiet, thankless work that led to it. Envying your friends on Facebook, as researchers have found, is a direct pathway to depression, precisely because it strengthens this myth that you alone are the one who has to struggle. The second architect, the fallacy of external control. This is the unhealthy belief we hold about others. It's the pervasive idea that other people have the power to control our internal state, and that we have been given power over theirs. It's the act of willingly giving away your personal sovereignty. Listen to the language we use every day. My boss makes me so angry. The traffic ruined my morning. My mother-in-law drives me crazy. In each of these statements, we are positioning ourselves as a passive recipient of an emotional state caused by someone else. We are handing the keys to our own happiness and peace of mind to external forces we cannot control. As adults living in a free society, there are vanishingly few things we have to do. When you say, "I have to work late," you are giving away your power. Yes, there may be negative consequences if you choose not to, but it is, and always will be, a choice. Acknowledging that choice, even if you still decide to work late, fundamentally changes your relationship with the situation. You move from being a victim of circumstance to an agent making a strategic decision. This fallacy also works in reverse. We believe we can control how other people behave, and we resent them when they don't conform to our expectations. We get angry when someone doesn't appreciate our efforts, or when our partner doesn't react the way we want them to. We are trying to control the uncontrollable. The only person you should ever compare yourself to is the person you were yesterday. The only emotional state you have absolute dominion over is your own. Other people are their own separate, sovereign nations. You can influence them, you can negotiate with them, but you cannot control them. To try is a recipe for perpetual frustration. Your world begins and ends with your own choices and your own reactions. The third architect, the poison of entitlement. This is the unhealthy belief we hold about the world itself. It's the deep-seated, often unconscious, belief that the world owes us something, that life should be fair. We are raised on this idea. In stories, the good guy always wins. In our culture, we're told, if you just work hard enough, you will be successful. We come to see success and happiness not as potential outcomes, but as cosmic rewards we are entitled to for our efforts and our virtue. So when we put in the hard work and we don't get the promotion, we feel betrayed. When we endure a series of hardships and life doesn't reward us with a period of peace, we feel cheated. We think, this isn't fair, and we are right. It isn't. Expecting the world to be fair is like expecting a lion not to eat you because you are a vegetarian. The universe does not operate on a system of karmic bookkeeping. Good things happen to bad people, and terrible things happen to wonderful people. There is no grand ledger. And while that may sound bleak, accepting this truth is one of the most liberating acts a person can perform. If life isn't fair, it means that no matter how much you have suffered in the past, you are not doomed to keep suffering. You are not being punished. It also means that your goodness and your hard work are not transactional chips you cash in for a reward. You do them because they are a reflection of your character, independent of the outcome. When you release the world from the burden of having to be fair, you free yourself to simply deal with it as it is. Your world is what you make it. Identifying these three architects of our unhappiness is the first step, but knowledge without action is useless. So, how do we actively dismantle these prisons? How do we train our brains to think differently? The process is a lot like tending a garden. You can't just plant flowers. You also have to actively pull the weeds. Mental strength is the same. You can practice good habits like gratitude and mindfulness, but if you don't actively remove the weeds of self-pity, blame, and entitlement, your inner garden will never flourish. This process of mental weeding can be broken down into a simple 3-step framework: awareness, interruption, and replacement. Step 1. Awareness. You cannot pull a weed you do not see. The first and most difficult step is to simply become aware of your own thought patterns. These beliefs are so ingrained, they often feel like objective reality. The practice here is to become a curious observer of your own mind. When you feel a negative emotion, anger, frustration, envy, hit the pause button. Ask yourself, what story am I telling myself right now? Am I casting myself as the victim? Am I blaming someone else for my feelings? Am I lamenting the unfairness of the world? Don't judge the thought, just notice it. A simple journaling practice at the end of the day can be revolutionary. Write down one moment you felt bad and trace it back to the underlying belief. Step 2. Interruption. Once you are aware of a destructive thought pattern in real time, you must interrupt it. Break the loop. This can be a mental or even a physical action. Some people find it helpful to literally say the word stop out loud. Others might snap a rubber band on their wrist. A powerful technique is to simply stand up, walk to a different room, and take 3 deep breaths. The goal is to create a moment of separation between the trigger and your habitual reaction. This small gap is where your freedom lies. You are creating a space where you can choose a different response. Step 3. Replacement. The final step is to consciously replace the destructive belief with a more empowering and realistic one. You are actively planting a flower where the weed once was. If you catch yourself in the myth of the victim, replace "why is this happening to me?" with "what can I learn from this?" Or "what is one small action I can take right now to improve this situation by just 1%? If you catch yourself in the fallacy of external control, replace "he is making me so angry" with "I am choosing to feel angry in response to his actions, and I can choose a different response." Replace "I have to do this" with "I am choosing to do this because I value the outcome." And if you catch yourself in the poison of entitlement, replace "this isn't fair" with the simple, powerful truth: life isn't fair, and that's okay. Now, what am I going to do about it? This 3-step process is not a one-time fix. It is a lifelong practice. It is the daily, moment-to-moment work of tending your inner garden. This might all sound theoretical, so let me share a story about a man I once knew who had been a prisoner to these beliefs for years. His doctor referred him to therapy because his bad mental habits were starting to have severe physical consequences. He had been diabetic for most of his adult life. His mother had also been diabetic, and she had passed away from complications at a young age. Because of this, he had constructed a powerful narrative, the myth of the victim. He believed he was doomed to repeat his mother's fate. He would say, "It's in my genes. There's nothing I can do." He had completely surrendered. This led directly to the fallacy of external control. He blamed his genetics, his doctor, and his circumstances for his declining health. He felt powerless. He had given up trying to manage his blood sugar altogether. And this was all underpinned by the poison of entitlement. He felt the world had dealt him a bad hand, that it was unfair he had to struggle with this disease when others didn't. This sense of injustice paralyzed him. His world was shrinking. His blood sugar had gotten so high it was affecting his vision, and he had his driver's license taken away. He knew all the things he could do to manage his health. He just didn't believe it was worth the effort. He was a man waiting to die. But after some time, he agreed, reluctantly, to make one small change. He said, "Okay, I'll give up my 2-liter-a-day Pepsi habit, and I'll trade it in for Diet Pepsi." He hated the taste. He complained about it every week, but he stuck with it, and something incredible happened. His numbers started to improve quickly. For the first time in years, he saw that his actions had a direct effect on his reality. That one small, almost trivial act was a crack in the foundation of his prison. He started to see that maybe he wasn't a victim after all. He said, well, maybe I could trade in my nightly bowl of ice cream for a healthier snack. And he did. One day, at a thrift store, he found a beat-up old exercise bike for a few dollars. He brought it home, parked it in front of his TV, and started to pedal while he watched his favorite shows. He started losing weight, and then one evening, he noticed he could see the television just a little bit more clearly than before, and it hit him like a lightning bolt. Maybe the damage wasn't permanent. Maybe he wasn't doomed. He set a new goal: to get his driver's license back. From that day forward, he was on fire. He finally believed he could change his world because he had seen the proof. It all started not with a grand gesture, but with the humble decision to swap a Pepsi for a Diet Pepsi. It was his first small act of reclaiming his power. The chains that hold us back are rarely forged of steel. They are forged of the stories we tell ourselves, the story that we are helpless victims, that others control our destiny, and that the world owes us fairness. But these are just stories, and any story that can be written can be rewritten. The secret to mental strength is understanding that you are the author. You have the power to look at the weeds in your mind, the self-pity, the blame, the entitlement, and decide, this does not belong here. You have the power to interrupt the old patterns and replace them with beliefs that serve you, that empower you, that set you free. The journey to mental strength, like all great journeys, does not begin with a leap across a chasm. It begins with a single, small, deliberate step. So, I invite you to consider, what is one unhealthy belief that might be holding you back? And what is one small step, one Diet Pepsi decision that you could take today to begin rewriting that story? Make that commitment to yourself. That small act is the first vote for the person you are choosing to become. If you enjoy exploring the tools for a stronger, more intentional life, consider subscribing to The Art of Ascent and join a community of people dedicated to their own journey upward.